Hey y'all, now we're potting with power. Hello and welcome to LexiCon. It is Maddie along with
Lexi.
Dylan.
And today we're talking about the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was released 35 years ago today, as of the day this podcast drops, October 18th.
Woo!
I like the NES.
Released in North America.
Who
Of course, the Famicom predates it in Japan by about 2 years.
Nice.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, they're the same system.
Yeah.
But for my money, the Nintendo Entertainment System is... And the Famicom too. You can go ahead and include them both, I suppose. But that, family of systems is the most important video game system of all time. It's number one on the list to me.
I agree.
I mean, you can make arguments, the Super Nintendo, the PlayStation 2, the Wii, the PlayStation 4, whatever system you think is great and influenced you and had an influence on the industry and video gaming as a whole. I mean, they're all important. They're all influential and iconic.
Yeah.
But to me, the NES is what made... the current video game culture what it is. It laid the foundation for it all. It's what brought video games into the home to stay.
Yeah, I have to ask, where would the home console be without the Nintendo?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, because you had
Probably in the ground.
almost literally with some of that overstock Atari stuff that they dumped in the landfill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be in the ground.
Of course, we should, pay respects to the Atari 2600 and, other systems that came before, ColecoVision, the Odyssey, Pong, and of course, video games were, in stand-up arcade machines, all before the NES. But
Machines.
Nintendo actually had a Pong console.
yeah,
That's cool.
there's a lot of Pong consoles. There's not just one Pong out there.
Nice to know.
There's probably 25 different just Pong consoles or variations of Pong just from back then, not even counting the newer versions of the game.
Yeah.
It's all just Pong.
Like Pong RPG.
We are not living in a simulation, we are living in Pong.
The Pong Matrix.
Yep.
The Pong Tricks.
Yes.
That sounds like a Pong dominatrix.
It kind of does. It did have that kind of feeling.
Is it a Pong paddle that dominates you? Or do they dominate you with a Pong paddle?
Both.
Kill me.
Anyway, if you're not
I'll
familiar,
blow
of course,
this.
Atari 2600 was the first really big home video game system, as far as I know. It had some contemporaries and whatnot. Of course, I think there was computer gaming around the same time. I've never been a big computer gamer, so I apologize for my lack of knowledge of the history of it.
It's okay.
But then, in the mid-'80s, or the early 80s, there was the big video game crash. There was such an overproduction, so many mediocre games, and the whole industry just sort of came crashing down, and it was... Certainly in the United States, at least, it was the Nintendo Entertainment System that sort of brought it back from the brink and again made video gaming what it is today and made it part of our everyday lives.
Yeah.
Yep.
1985 was when it was released in North America.
Yes.
And I didn't get mine until Christmas '87. I know it had to be Christmas '87 because The Legend of Zelda was already out, and Legend of Zelda released in the United States in 1987. It came out in Japan in '86.
Damn.
And I had played it already because at least a couple of my friends I think got NESs before I did.
Yeah.
And also my local video store, Sumter Video Express, would rent out the NES console.
I still find that interesting.
You could rent VCRs too, and you could rent other consoles. I remember renting the Sega Genesis.
Why is this not still a thing?
Well, video rental stores aren't really a thing anymore.
True.
And that's not completely true because, there are rental places like Rent-A-Center where you can rent appliances. A lot of them will rent computers and video game systems too.
That's pretty cool.
I suppose. They're very over... Those kind of deals are really overpriced.
Probably, yeah. But the concept is cool.
Hey, you can get subscription on video games. Like video game
During the
passes.
pandemic, I wouldn't like the idea though.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had an Atari. I still have my Atari 2600, as a matter of fact.
Yes. Does it work?
Yeah.
Nice.
And my friends and I played on it a lot, had a good time with it. But video games weren't like our end-all, be-all. We loved playing with our action figures and going outside and playing not only, made-up games where we were soldiers or mercenaries or aping whatever the hot action movie or
yeah.
Saturday morning cartoon was at the time, but also going out and playing sports and
those cartoons.
Video games were just a small part of our lives.
Yeah.
And I mean, even once I got the NES and the Super NES, we still did all that other stuff too. But I mean, the Atari was really cool and really fun, and I pretty much grew up with it. But the NES is what really opened the doors
NES
to
is
video
the big-
games, and
That's the boss fight of
Super
the
Mario Brothers, The Legend of
console.
Zelda, Final Fantasy, Mega Man, Metroid, etc., etc., etc. Those are the games that really started to capture our imagination. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Spider Fighters on Atari, and Pitfall was cool. I like
What about
Final
E.T.?
Fantasy
Game
back game.
2020.
I have it, but I never cared that much for it.
Okay.
And not even like, we hate this game, it's so bad. Just like, yeah, it's not much fun. Let's just move on from it. I wasn't that critical of games at the time. It was just like either you liked it or you didn't.
Yeah.
But a Spider Fighter was my favorite Atari game.
By far best game 2020.
Lol.
But that's interesting too, because like I don't think the 2600 games hold up at all today. They're fun to me, and I'm not insulting anybody who still finds Atari very fun, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but I mean to me the only value of the Atari at this point is for nostalgia's sake. It's fun to check it out because this is I remember this. Oh, this is what people used to play. This is where it all kind of started. But they don't hold up the way NES games do, and I'm not saying that Super Mario Brothers compares to the latest whatever epic game you're into now, Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy 16, which is coming out. Yeah,
Mega Man has pretty good graphics.
that's the height of video games.
It so is.
But all I'm saying is, I mean, most of the great NES games still hold up today. The graphics are still decent for the time. The music is still decent for the time, and not even just for the time. Some of that 8-bit graphic and 8-bit music is still really, really fun today.
Yes.
And most of the best games still play really well.
Yes.
It's just a really solid system with a really solid lineup of games that just still holds up. That
Nintendo struck gold.
like we talked about when we talked about Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary a few weeks back. And I should clarify if anybody's confused that we were celebrating the 35th anniversary of the release of Super Mario Brothers in Japan.
Yes.
Because I didn't find a solid release date for Super Mario Brothers in the U.S., but it must have released by today, October 18th, because it was packed in with Nintendo Entertainment Systems.
Yes.
So we could kind of celebrate both, but since we talked about Mario already, we're going to talk about the NES at large now. And then, like I said, the Famicom, which is just the Japanese version of the NES, it had been around in Japan since '83.
Nice.
And it's really quick, I've never owned a Famicom or played it, but it's a neat looking system. I prefer the look of the Famicom to the look of the NES, even though the NES is iconic for me, because that's what I grew up with. I love the look of the Famicom, and even more the Super Famicom. I think the Super Famicom is the coolest looking console of all time.
I haven't seen too much, but I did see a little bit online. It's pretty neat looking. I do want to know why it didn't look like that here.
Because reasons.
I was going to say, Dylan and I have watched numerous documentaries on this subject. I'm sure we heard somewhere, but I guess it's just escaped us. I know the wasn't the flat top lunchbox design, wasn't that so people could set stuff on top of it like drinks and shit?
Maybe.
I thought I heard something like that. Doesn't seem like that'd be a good idea. But
No. That sounds like a horrible idea.
Wasn't the SNES like specifically made so people don't
or maybe
set
that's
things
what it
on?
was. Maybe they changed
Because
the design
how,
afterwards
like-
because people were doing it.
Yeah, because it has like a bunch of bumps and stuff on it.
Yeah. But yeah, regardless, the Famicom looks better, but I mean, they play basically identically. We're still talking the same game, same software, and the software is, of course, what's really going to drive the console. You can have the best hardware out there, and if you don't have really good games to play on, it's not going to matter. And the NES has, I mean, even now, it's competing for the best library of games ever.
Yeah.
Which is not to say there's not shitty games on it, too, but I mean, come on. We talk about the greats, all the Super Mario Brothers games, the Mega Man games, the original Final Fantasy, The Legend of Zelda and its sequel, the original Metroid, Contra, oh my god, one of my all-time favorite video games. What else premiered on the NES?
Castlevania.
Yes, the Castlevania series, which I didn't play
Actually,
that a whole
technically,
lot.
Contra wasn't that an arcade game first?
Well, yeah, I'm talking home console. Okay. First off, I'm not necessarily saying it had to premiere on the NES. It just had to be featured on the NES to be part of this list I'm making. But again, we're focusing on home consoles. I understand that the arcades predated home consoles. And
Yes.
video games were popular before they got popular in the home. But the NES is the system that really brought it into people's homes and kept them there. So I was just looking at, the small collection that I still have. I don't have as many games as I used to have, but Strider, Punch Out, which was originally Mike Tyson's Punch Out,
Super Glove Ball.
Blaster Match. We don't talk about the Power Glove. To be fair, the Power Glove was what, like 5 years later?
I don't know.
So it's really not necessarily germane to this conversation. I mean, I guess to be fair, a lot of these games were later, but I mean, it's all about the legacy of the NES. So I guess maybe we should touch on the Power Glove. at some point, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be right now.
Not that's a different story for a different time.
So anyway, I was saying earlier, did I say when I got my NES?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You got Christmas
I
'87.
got it about Christmas '87, but I had played it ahead of that. I remember Super Mario Bros. Being one of the main games we played, but also I'd played The Legend of Zelda before I actually got my Nintendo. That was one of mine and my dad's favorite games to play.
Yeah.
So much so that I got my Nintendo for Christmas, and I got the one that was packaged in with, or that had packaged in with it. Well, of course, it had the system. It had 2 controllers, because back then, when you got a video game system, it would usually come with 2 controllers, so you could play with a friend. It's not like nowadays.
That's
when
awesome.
You only get 1 controller, sometimes not even 1.
And you have to spend like $60.
But did the NES controllers cost like $60 and have like 17 buttons and lights?
That high price point is a negative.
Does a
Yeah,
modern
no.
day controller have that many buttons and lights?
Actually, it does have about like 16 buttons.
Somebody pass me a controller.
I got one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I got 18 on the
Oh.
PlayStation 4 controller.
And a light.
Now, that's
Yeah,
counting
18
analog
and
sticks, because you press down on them, and
Yeah.
the share button, which probably doesn't do much in most games.
Yeah. So even discounting the share button, that's still 17. Discounting the
And my
PlayStation
Animal
button,
Crossing
so you were
controller
right.
has 2 random
Oh wait,
buttons.
did you count the PlayStation button for that?
I did count the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that doesn't have much use.
And remember, my
Discounting
Animal
that.
Crossing controller has 2 random buttons on the back that we don't know what they do.
I think you can like map them to different buttons.
No idea.
But anyway, my NES, like I said, it was packed. The system, the 2 controls. I had the zapper and I had the power pad, and of course that came with
What was that?
the Tri cartridge, which had Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and Track and Field on it. The power pad was a big pad that plugged into the thing, and it had like
Dance Dance Revolution pad?
sort of, and it had like 6 or 8 big buttons on it, and you would like run and jump on it. The only game I know that I ever worked with was Track and Field, and you would
Nice.
run and do hurdles and triple jump, and yeah, we really enjoyed the power pad though. It was a lot of fun. Like
I think
say,
Johnny would
it
like
didn't have
something
much
like
use
that.
beyond that one game,
Yeah.
but it was, and yeah, you could kind of cheat it by just beating on it with your hands. You know, the only thing
Pro gamer
there
style.
was one particular event in Track and Field that we would do that with, and I wanted. It might have been the hurdles because it was really hard to jump the hurdles, or maybe it was the triple jump. It seemed like there was one game that just had an issue as far as how reactive it was and how easy it was to make the mechanics work the way they should.
Mm-hmm.
And we would use our hands for that, but for the most part we would just play it straight and we just had a good time with it.
Nice.
The zapper I never had that much use for. I mean, play Duck Hunt with it and that's cool. And there were a few other games that would use it, but it wasn't as fun as you would think it would be. You would think, the toy gun shooting at the screen would be fun, but yeah.
It looks neat.
That's also a testament to just how good most of the NES games are, and they're just fun to play with that controller, which is just a great controller.
It's true.
I like, nowadays I like the dog bone shaped controller that came with the top loader NES that was released in like the mid 90s. But that original rectangular NES controller is still a great controller. Still feels good in your hand. It has, one of the all-time best D-pads.
Yeah.
Which, as you see with the Switch, is super important because all the Switch D-pads suck.
Lol.
Or stink. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to use suck as a negative.
PlayStation D-pads aren't too bad.
No, PlayStation's pretty good. But that's what I'm saying is if you're going to use a D-pad as your main means of mobility, you need a really good D-pad.
Yeah.
I don't play Xbox, so
And shitty D-pads can just suck the life out of a game.
It's true. I was playing. Which controller was I using? There's some game I was playing recently, and I hated the controller for it because of the way I was trying to deal with the D-pad. And it's like, who decided this?
Oh no.
We've sort of gotten off base. I was trying to talk about the fact that
I know you said something about it.
that was the package I got with my NES on Christmas, and then I believe it was literally the day after Christmas. My dad and I went out and went to Toys R Us and got our own copy of The Legend of Zelda
Rest in
That's
peace,
awesome.
Toys R Us.
Right.
because we liked the game so much. And in fact, I played it so much that I was even writing a strategy guide for it when I was a kid and wanted to make a strategy guide for it. Because this is the days when there weren't a bunch of strategy guides.
That's amazing.
This is even, I want to say it's even before Nintendo Power, because the first edition of Nintendo Power had Super Mario Brothers 2 on the front, the US version of Super Mario Brothers 2, and that would have been 88, right?
I guess.
So yeah,
I guess.
we're talking even pre-Nintendo Power, and certainly pre-internet.
Did you ever finish it?
No.
Damn.
I just was busy with other stuff, and it's not like today where you could do something like that and get it out to people really easily. It would have been like,
Could've
who would have
sent it
been
up
like,
to
who would have seen it back
Nintendo.
then? You know?
You?
Yeah, I know,
friends.
and it was worthwhile, and I enjoyed it. And I remember drawing the rupees and stuff, and pointing out like which enemies were more likely to drop rupees, and which was more likely to drop bombs, and.
Do you remember which enemies are more likely to drop rupees?
Even to today, like the blue Octoroks drop bombs, and the red ones would be more likely to drop rupees.
That's nice to know.
But even to this day, I probably know that game about as well as any game I play.
Yeah.
That it was. There was speaking of Nintendo Power, there was always a rankings in it. It
Yeah.
was originally just NES games, and then Super Nintendo games and Game Boy games were added in, and it continued on Nintendo 64 and beyond. But I didn't get the magazine by that point.
When did they stop the magazine?
I don't know. Have they stopped it? Does it still
I think
exist in
so.
some form? I'm really not sure.
They
Because
stopped
I
it.
thought they
I
stopped
personally stopped getting it a long time ago. But anyway, they would have the rankings, and it at various times might be the top 50 or top 100 or top 30. But The Legend of Zelda was always at the top or near the top, and to me, it's still probably the best game ever for the NES.
That's nice.
Some people would argue Super Mario Brothers. My personal favorite is Final Fantasy, but I still think the original Legend of Zelda is probably the best NES game ever, and certainly one like Super Mario Brothers, one of the most influential and important video games of all time.
Yeah.
And also like Super Mario Brothers, a creation of Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yes.
So there's that.
Okay.
Video game genius, apparently.
So the magazine stopped in 2012, but it is currently a podcast.
Stop being a magazine podcast. Nice. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's the one podcast I need to check out.
Not your own.
That's because I'm already on mine. Why do I have
But
to
do you check out your own
mine?
podcast?
I mean, I follow us. Be sure you're following us.
Check out
something.
Videocy
I don't know the handles.
at LexiCon. It's LexiConvo, I think.
Okay.
On Twitter, and then LexiCon Podcast on Instagram.
Nice.
I think.
Nice.
I always say I think because I had changed it on Instagram. Yeah, it's LexiConvo on Twitter, and then I think it was LexiConvo on Twitter originally.
Nice.
I mean, it was obviously it was that way on Twitter. I think it was that way on Instagram as well, and I changed it to Lexicon. But yeah, it's Lexicon Podcast.
Nice to know. Now you know.
But our podcast has nothing to do with the NES.
I mean, this episode
Its existence
does.
of it doesn't. I mean, it has nothing to do with the history of the system or what it means to us.
Only this episode.
I had two of the original NESs, the lunchbox shaped one, and I have the top loader now.
Nice.
I also have the Retron, which plays NES games.
Yes.
And we have the, I don't remember what it's called, but we have the portable Super Nintendo. It's called the Retro Duo Portable,
Nice.
which plays Super Nintendo and NES games, and Genesis games too, I think.
Nice.
But so technically I have 3 ways to play NES games right now. Not to mention the NES Virtual Arcade on the Switch, plus the various NES games we have on the Virtual Consoles on the Wii U,
Yeah.
and which carried over from the Wii onto the Wii U.
Yeah.
Plus the ports of Nintendo games that we have on the Game Boy, like Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls.
We have
Plus
a
the
lot
ports of NES games like
options.
Final Fantasy on the PlayStation.
I think we may have a bit of
options.
NES
So
game.
clearly
Let's
NES
play, I
is
guess.
very influential in our video
Options.
game existence. Kowalski. Options. Well, we could play Mega Man or Metroid. Or I like The Legend of Zelda.
That was a good show.
Yes.
There's nothing to do with the NES stuff.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't think there's a Penguins of Madagascar game, unless there's a ROM hack.
Maybe
People
it
still
will.
do make new
Maybe.
hacks and homebrews for the NES.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we might be playing one on either God of the Game Night or Videocy for Zelda Month.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's super new, but
Nice.
we just recently, earlier this year, we did a playthrough of a My Little Pony game that was a hack of Mega Man.
That sounds like Dylan.
And last year we played a Super Mario Fantasy, which was Final Fantasy, but with characters from Super Mario's world.
Nice.
What's the? Have we done any NES game? Those notwithstanding, have we done any NES games on Videocy? I mean, we've done the original Mega Man games. We played them on PlayStation 4, but it's still basically the NES games. No done some Super. Well, we done Final
must think
Fantasy,
long
of
and
course.
hard
We did
about
play.
this.
We did the PlayStation version.
We've done like
We
17
did the randomized version.
Final Fantasy game. We've done like Final Fantasy 17 times, of course. That's
We've
your chance.
done Contra, of course. Multiple variations of Contra. We played it with our feet. We played it without the 30-man code. We played it with the 30-man code.
Play with our feet?
I know,
Yeah, we
right?
did. You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah, we played Contra with our feet.
That wasn't
We
grape
didn't play
juice
it
night,
well.
night, was it?
That wasn't what?
Grape juice night, was it?
No.
Okay.
And of course, I think the NES games are rife in our series, 12 Days of Cheatsmas, which comes out every December. And we break out the Game Genie codes and have a good time with them. I had a Game Genie.
Nice.
I don't have it anymore. We just use the ROM for it now.
Game Genie is awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, 2 NES in my childhood, and then that was my. Of course, I got my original NES for Christmas 1987, and at some point along the way, I got a second one, probably because my original one was wearing out. And then in 1990, oh my God, do I want to say 97?
I'm so sorry. That was not supposed to happen.
That's why you shouldn't be on your phone when you're in the middle of a podcast.
I was trying to get back to the app I needed.
You don't need an app
I
to
thought you
listen
had
to.
your
Do you need an app
phone
to
muted.
decode dad speak?
Yep.
I have phone muted.
I don't know. I normally do.
So in, I want to say it was 97 when they were finally discontinuing the NES.
Yeah.
And it was all going on sale really cheaply. That was my big birthday present, and the stuff I got my top loader NES. I got another copy of Final Fantasy, another copy of The Legend of Zelda, another NES Advantage, because you could get like the games were like $5 a piece at Toys R Us, and it was all winding down. And that's when I finally got my last gasp of that stuff.
That's so cheap.
So what are some of y'all's memories, NES memories? I mean, you guys literally grew up with the NES.
Playing.
I played
playing the
video
Mario game.
games.
That's like the only game I ever played.
What is?
I said that kind of jokingly, but I was referring to Mario.
I'm sure you played more NES games than I. You played Contra with Dylan, I'm pretty sure.
I played
I
Contra
thought
with
y'all
you?
played Contra on Gabo.
I think so.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure y'all did.
I have no memory of this.
I know the NES is your main console, but I know you've played some of the games.
Yeah.
You probably played more Super Nintendo than regular.
I go back
Super
to it for
Nintendo is
Mario.
awesome.
It is, but this is the show about the NES,
Yes,
so
I
let's
know.
focus on
Mario
that
is
right
like the best game ever.
We'll get to the show on this NES in like 3 years.
Mario is like
Bit
the
more
best
than 3
game
years.
ever. Can you deny it?
What? Then Mario's the best. I just told you, The Legend of Zelda is the best game on there.
Mario, damn it.
And
I got Final
that
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy is my personal favorite.
My personal favorite is
Punch
Mario.
Out is also fun. It's like damn.
Oh, there's a ton of fun games in there. Well, like I said, let's do the list. Super Mario Brothers, classic. Super Mario Brothers 2, completely different. Of course, we now know because it's a reskin of another game. But
Yes.
it still holds up. Love to play it. And of course, it introduced my favorite video game character of all time, Shy Guy. So
Shaggy.
can't be mad at it.
Mario 3.
Super Mario Brothers 3, which at the time was revolutionary and one of the greatest games ever made. And a lot of people still think it is. I personally think it doesn't hold up all that well.
I think it holds up to the first Mario
especially once Super Mario. Well, I'll tell you why I don't think it does in just a minute. But especially once Super Mario World came out, it always sort of makes me feel like, oh, okay, Super Mario Bros. 3 was just the tech demo for Super Mario World. Because Super Mario World to me is still a perfect game. It's still the best Mario game ever made. And in many ways, Super Mario Bros. 3 laid the foundation for it, but in a lot of ways, it can't hold a candle to it. Now, like I say, at the time when it released in like 89, 90, sometime around then, it was great. I mean, it had this huge world. I love the overworld mechanic. It had really cool new power-ups like the raccoon tail that lets you fly. I loved the Koopalings as bosses. I thought their characterizations were great. I thought the artwork was great. The game looked great.
Suit.
The game still has some of the most memorable video game music of all time. Super Mario Bros. 3 is still a great game, but it has one glaring flaw. You can't save your game. And in the original Super Mario Brothers, that's not that big of a deal. It's a little bit quicker game. I mean, yeah, it's way bigger than any of the Atari games that came before it, having 8 worlds with 4 smaller worlds within each one. So I mean, that's a pretty massive game, but you breeze through them fairly quickly. Super Mario Bros. 3 is not like that. It's got 8 worlds filled with many worlds within, and it could take a long time to get through. Now, I understand what you're probably gonna say. You can get the warp whistles and warp quickly through it, and if you can get through World 8. You can knock the game out in an hour or so.
But when I go through like every level.
Exactly. If you want to have the full experience and really take in everything, you can't really do that in one sitting.
Yeah,
and
wasn't Zelda already released by that time?
Yeah, Zelda was 86.
Why
in
didn't they
Japan,
have a save system?
and 87 here? Exactly, or even a password system. Give us something.
Password system.
So that to me is a fatal flaw that holds the game back, because you can't really have that great experience with it. Now, subsequent releases of it on the virtual consoles and of course in Super Mario Bros. All-Star Kart corrected that.
Yes.
But still, it even throwing that in, and even as nostalgic as it is for me, and even as great as it was at the time, and even as memorable as some of the look and the power-ups and the music is, it's still nowhere near as good a game as Super Mario World. Super Mario World is just absolutely fantastic in my estimation.
Yeah.
But Super Mario Bros. 3 is still a fantastic game. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We already talked about The Legend of Zelda, one of the most influential, important, and greatest games of all time. Another one that, let's just instead of saying this for every individual game, the best NES games all still really hold up today.
Yeah.
Like I say, I mean, you have to give some allowance. Like, the technology was what it was. You could only do so much. But even having said that, the games still look really nice.
Exactly.
You can still tell what's going on. The characters are memorable. The music, even for being an 8-bit chiptune, is still incredibly catchy and memorable. And like I say, the best games of the bunch still play really well. And to me, the two most important things in a video game are story and gameplay. And depending on the type of game, story is... Maybe for some games you wouldn't say story, but purpose. You know, what your quest is, what your goal is, what the reason for playing is.
I need some good opinions, because if a game looks bad, it might depend. I might not be able to get past it.
I can, but it doesn't have to look...
It doesn't have to look perfect, but it can't be unsettling.
It has to look well enough that you can understand what's going on, and then it's not a huge turn-off. But beyond that, you know, I'd hardly say graphics and even sound, they're not the most important thing in a game. Not to me, anyway. Like I said, if the game's good, plays really well, and has a really good story, something to keep you engaged...
Yeah.
That's going to make for a good experience and something that you're going to be able to go back to. And all the great NES games have that. Like
yes.
We talked about Mario, we talked about The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda sequel, Zelda 2, I was going to say Zelda 2, A Link to the Past.
Yes.
Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
Yes.
That's the full title, right?
I literally don't remember this game.
Again, a lot of people look down on it nowadays because it's very different than most of the Legend of Zelda games, but at the time there were only 2 Legend of Zelda games. You had the first one, now they came with the second one. They did something a little different with it.
Sounds like at the time the seconds were always weird.
It's not...
Pretty much.
It's not as good as the first one, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a really good game, and I loved it at the time. Like I said, even at the time, I still preferred the first one, but the second one was really fun too.
Yeah.
And I mean, then again, you can look at a series like Mega Man, which is basically just the same game over and over. I mean, there are improvements, don't get me wrong, but I mean, they didn't change much for the formula for Mega Man. I mean, they would add little things.
Yeah, like Mega Man 2 had more balls, and Mega Man 3 had the slide, Mega Man 4 had the charge.
Had the slide and rush, and you had the charge in Mega Man 4. And you had different bosses, different stages. They're different, but it's still basically the same formula over and over.
Yeah.
So you can definitely work with that as long as you're making a good game. And the Mega Man games are good. All 6 of them on the NES are fantastic. I mean, number 3 is my personal favorite. And I still like number 1 better than number 2, but even number 2 is fantastic. And at the time that number 2 came out, and that was the first Mega Man I played, I loved that game. I thought it was one of the best games ever made. And it still is, for that matter. But the first 3 are almost completely interchangeable, and 4, 5, and 6 are all almost just as good, and all certainly have something that really makes them nice. Like you brought up the charge in 4. I love like the rush suit in 6. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
And 5 has...
It's just a solid game.
5 is nothing.
That's what 5 has.
Is it 5 or 6 that has the tournament set up?
That's 6.
I think that's a really cool mechanic too. But 5's great too. All the Mega Man games are really good.
Mega Man hasn't failed.
Not on the NES.
Yeah.
Next time.
The original Metroid, still a classic.
That's pretty decent.
I mean, if you like Metroidvania style games, you can't get much better than the original.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not as good as Super Metroid. Super Metroid is like a
nobody said it had to be. But you can still go back and play the original Metroid and still have a good time.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost.
And not just for nostalgia's sake either. The game is still fun. It still plays well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to get lost.
And of course, one of my all-time favorite games, the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's
still one of the best role-playing games of all time. Maybe the best D&D game ever made.
Definitely the best D&D game ever made.
What are some of the big names? Punch-Out / Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the final boss of Punch-Out isn't Mike Tyson, but he plays the same as Mike Tyson, so it's still basically the same game.
Yeah.
Really, really fun sport. Tecmo Bowl, the first classic football game on any system. Not as an immersive an experience as like the Madden games would become, but just a really fun arcade style football game. And then its sequel, Tecmo Super Bowl, was even better. So I mean, those were other great games. Strider on the NES, I always loved a lot. It's one of my all-time favorite games. Way different than the arcade game or the Genesis version or the later games on PlayStation, but
I haven't really played that much Strider.
I love the
Me
originals.
neither.
We did Strider on.
Yeah, but me
Yes.
personally haven't. I personally haven't played that much.
I even like the original Golf. A lot of people call Mario Golf, but it's been said that that's not Mario. The character just looks like it. But
Yeah.
it's still a really fun golf simulator. And again, nowhere near as in depth as like the modern PGA Tour games are, but it's still really fun
Isn't
for what
there
it
a
is.
Mario
And
Golf
still it's
game?
fun to go back and play. Yeah, it's like on Game Boy.
Yeah, there's also
DS.
NES Open Tournament Golf that has Mario.
I think that
Nice.
might have been what I was thinking about.
And there's also-
there's a
I thought
Mario
there was
Golf too,
something
but it's like
newer.
on DS.
Yeah, and there's
it's
also
on
the
DS.
Mario Golf series.
Nice.
Of course, we mentioned the Castlevania series. I played them a little bit as a kid. I thought they were fun, but I didn't own them, and they weren't big renters for me. But they're still, really fun games. We have them now. We have them on Switch or PlayStation. It doesn't matter because it's just basically ports of the NES games. They're not updates or remakes or
I believe we
anything.
have them on PlayStation.
Those were all great.
That's funny.
Some others that were more one-offs, even though they may have had sequels down the line. Blaster Master,
Yeah.
one of my favorite NES games, where you're driving around in the little tank and you get out and be the little tiny dude exploring around.
And you go on this entire journey just because you want your fog.
Wait, what?
That's the plot of Blaster Master. Your fog
Anything
escapes.
for fog.
And you're like, I gotta get my fog. Then you find a freaking tank and it's like, I'm gonna get you, buddy. That's pretty much the
That
plot of
sounds
Blaster
like
Master.
everybody I know in this fog group on Facebook. Anything for fog.
That's the plot of Blaster Master.
Best cottage core game ever.
Bionic Commando. You got the
Yeah.
extender arm.
That's pretty good.
Love Bionic Commando. There's some deeper cuts too that are Clash of Demon Head.
Yeah.
Was one of my favorites as a kid. Sort of an action platformer, but it had some adventure elements in it too.
Yeah.
You get the different items, and again, I really
It's kind of like a Metroidvania.
I like the art style of that game. But a lot of stuff in that game you buy.
Yeah.
That you don't have to find. But it's kind of, especially with the backtracking and the multiple paths.
Yeah.
Instead of being in like one location, you're on a bigger world map. You're
Yeah.
going to different areas. But I wouldn't disagree. Contra, we talked about, of course, one of the all-time greatest shooters. Still better than probably 90% of shooters out there today. And of course, introduced the Konami code to the masses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Up, down, down, left,
Left, right, BA, start.
Select starts what I would always.
Technically, the start is to start the
Start
game.
and the select is just to get the other player.
Yeah, so technically it's up, down, left, right,
But
BA.
if you don't press it, you're not going to get them in. The thing, you're just going to go into the.
I know, I'm
the demo,
saying,
but-
select and start aren't technically part of the code.
No, not technically.
I just feel like that code is so popular that it's in a toddler's toy.
And in Gradius, if you like pause the game, then put it in, it kills you.
I have
Or something.
questions.
Another NES game I still really like, High Speed Pinball game, which is
Yeah.
which
Pinball!
what I did find out is a port of an actual arcade game, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yes.
And the
not
sequel to
not
that.
an arcade game like an arcade
Pinball.
game, but an actual pinball machine. I'm saying it's a
Sadly,
port
there's
of
no
that.
NES High Speed 2.
But High Speed still made my favorite port of a pinball game ever.
Yeah.
Can still spend hours playing it, enjoying it. One time I thought about maybe streaming live, playing some NES while we were recording this, but I was afraid we'd get too caught up in the games and not talk enough for the podcast.
I'm sorry.
There are other memorable games for the system too. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which of course the angry video game nerds famously clowned. It's not a great game. Some people think it is.
It's
I don't.
hard.
But it has a large sense of nostalgia for me. I got that for my birthday the year it came out.
Nice.
And I still remember it. It was, of course, the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, which means something because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a big thing in my childhood.
Yes.
The original Batman game on NES, which is based somewhat on the '89 Batman movie, but not completely.
I've never played it.
Yeah, I'd love to get a copy of it. It's a really good action game.
it
Ninja
seems
Gaiden, which bears somewhat of a resemblance to that Batman game.
It's hard.
Another great game. It had, I think, 2 sequels on the NES, but I mainly remember playing. I think I had the first one. I definitely had the first one, and I think I played the second one. I don't think I ever got the third one, but another awesome game.
I'm pretty sure the third one you don't have infinite lives or whatever.
I mean, there were so many NES games that I played. I'd never be able to name them all. There's some off the wall. There's like Low G Man. The original G.I. Joe on the NES was a really fun game. one Street Fighter 2010. Nothing nerd reviewed. I had that game. I got that game for Valentine's Day from my parents. That was a really fun game.
Nice.
For what it was. Not a classic, but an enjoyable
That has like
time.
nothing to do with Street Fighter.
No,
That's why they call it Street Fighter.
I don't know. I should point to Operation Wolf. It's an on-rail shooter. We did it on cheats, Mr. Remember.
Yeah.
I don't have fond memories of that on the NES specifically. We do have a copy on the NES, but that was one of mine and my dad's favorite arcade games. And in the arcade, of course, it really had the Uzis there, the toy guns for you to sit there and
Those
shoot
are
in there.
fun.
That probably more fun than doing it with a controller. But
To get the zapper.
I should point that out. I don't know if the zapper works with Operation Wolf.
Yeah, so
On the NES. And I think Operation Wolf on the NES is only one player. In the arcade, of course, you could do 2-player, which is what really made it fun.
Nice.
Yeah. What are any other games you guys want to mention? This is more about the system than the games, but the games are sort of what make the system.
Yeah. We've covered all the games I know / like.
I'm thinking long and hard.
I mean, like Star Tropics. That was a pretty popular game, but I wasn't all that fond of it. It was like an adventure game like The Legend of Zelda. You had a submarine, like a yo-yo was your main weapon. I had a copy of it.
Yo-yo
And
was a weapon.
I like
It was
Yoshi.
fine, but it never captured my imagination. I never played anything Yoshi until Super Mario World.
Yeah,
Yoshi is
the
best.
Yoshi NES game. I'm pretty
I know
sure
there was,
came
but
out
I didn't
after
play it.
Super Mario World. It's like a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fun.
I mean, there's a port of Tetris on the NES, but Tetris really started on Game Boy for me personally.
Yeah, the NES doesn't have the Tetris music.
The NES version
That's
isn't
sad.
as good. It's okay, but it's not nearly as good.
Nice to know.
Oh, Excite Bike. That's one I should.
Oh,
bring
Oh
up.
yeah, that's pretty
The
fun.
dirt bike game, and the thing that was coolest about it is that you could build your own tracks. It was an early
Yeah.
game that gave you some level building.
That's cool.
I
Can't wait for Super Excite Bike Maker.
Really quickly, I pulled up a list of games from the NES just in case there's anything that I couldn't remember off the top of my head that I wanted to bring up. That's what I was just scrolling through really quickly. Adventures of Lolo. I remember that game, but I don't have any particular fond memories of. Ooh, before I get Rygar, that was a game I liked a lot on the NES, and that was one of the first games that my friend and I kind of glitched out. We were fighting somebody, we got like knocked off a platform, and all of a sudden we were at the final boss. We had no idea how it happened. I've never tried to make it happen again, but this always stuck out with me.
Is that Kirby game on the NES?
I think there might be. I mean, he premiered on Game Boy, but I think there is an NES game. I'm on the list. I'll get there.
Kirby style.
Bad Dudes, the beat 'em up game, which I can't believe I'm forgetting Double Dragon,
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the all-time classic beat 'em ups, and Double Dragon 2, which is an even better game. Probably my favorite in the Double Dragon series. Of course, Battletoads is on the NES.
Yeah.
I just accidentally clicked on a game called Banana Prince.
But Kirby has Lola and La La La.
I've never heard of Banana. Have you ever heard of Banana Prince?
No.
No.
You have now.
It
Nice.
sounds like a video game.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Let's see. Lots of baseball games. I have RBI Baseball, which is one of the Tekken games. Tengen games. It's black cards, which apparently aren't licensed by Nintendo.
Good
That's
to
something I
know.
didn't
Yeah.
know
Nice to know.
until I was an adult. I remember one game we used to rent from one of the video stores. It was like in a. It had like a powder blue case to it. It was probably something that wasn't licensed either.
That's
Most of the
interesting.
licensed NES games have the dark gray case.
Yeah.
Battletoads, of course, I mentioned. Lots of games here that I've seen on the Angry Video Game Nerd. Bomberman, of course, was on the NES. Again, Boy and His Blob.
Oh yeah.
What?
Again, not one I played a lot, but I read about it a lot in Nintendo Power. There are some games that you just know about from being around, and some games that you know about because you actually spend time playing them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That was not one I spent much time playing. I have to be honest with you. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, another one of my favorite NES games. And DuckTales, of course, which preceded it in the Disney collection. Both great games, but Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers was...
And Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers too.
Yeah, but I never played 2. Like, I've played it now, but back then I only played the original. I thought the original was great, and I thought it was really fun running around in the world that was so much larger than you, but seeing what are just everyday objects for us in such a different scale when you're the little chipmunks. And fucking love the music in Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. But that's another one from Capcom. Capcom's one of the best. We should talk some about the developers who made some of the best games for the system, like Capcom, of course, Konami.
Yeah.
Of course, Nintendo made a lot of games themselves too, like Super Mario Brothers and The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I was gonna say something and then I just couldn't figure out what the words I was looking for was. So that went well.
And of course, Donkey Kong is a Nintendo game.
Wait. Holy fuck, it is.
I mean, it premiered in the arcade originally, but it's on the NES and it was made by Nintendo.
I love Donkey Kong.
And again, another Miyamoto game.
Mario, Donkey Kong, Q-Bird, and Pac-Man. Those are my classic games.
Double Dribble. That was an NBA licensed game. Doll Ball, Joel Ball was what it said on the title screen, but another classic from my youth. Dragon Warrior, which of course is Dragon Quest. But I know it as Dragon Warrior. One of the first role-playing games I ever played.
Yeah, never beat it.
Yeah, no, I never even got that far in it. Ultima was another role-playing game on the NES.
Definitely never played that.
So again, it really started capturing my imagination. That, I can be like a knight and have different armor and weapons, and this is so cool.
You have different armor and weapons?
You can be a knight.
And of course, Friday the 13th.
Oh god.
Not a great game necessarily, but again, something I'm kind of nostalgic for because I remember playing it as a kid. There's so many memories on the NES for me.
As Purple Jason, which is the best thing to ever happen to Friday the 13th.
Ghosts and Goblins.
That game's hard. I've gotten to the second
The
stage.
Goonies 2, which I never got to play, but is interesting because there was never a Goonies 2 movie, but it has the plot of the Goonies 2 movie. There were mermaids involved and shit, and they were supposed to be shooting it in North Carolina, and it just never happened. But they made the game for
one
it.
game?
No.
So there's another plot of the Goonies 2. You have to play the
Goonies
video game.
2 is the sequel, yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see. High Speed, of course, we mentioned already.
What was that blue game you were talking about?
I don't remember what game it was.
Oh, any of these sound familiar?
Oh, maybe.
It should be one of those, according to my research.
What are you talking about?
Baby Boomer Captain Comic. I mean, Master Chew and the Drunkard Who, I remember seeing the game, but I never played it.
Uh-huh.
So that could have been it.
What are you talking about?
That Dad was talking about having a game on like a pale blue cartridge.
But maybe I just saw it, because maybe one of the video game stores actually had the cards out on the wall.
Yeah.
Ooh, Akari Warriors, that's one I hadn't mentioned too. That's another shooter that I really liked as a kid. And again, I like the sequel even better. And look, I know, I'm not saying it's a great game, but let's be fair. It did make for the greatest Angry Video Game Nerd episode of all time. So it deserves props for that, if nothing else.
According to my research, when it came to the unlicensed games, there was one developer that was known for trying to copy the Zelda thing by doing like silver and gold and hold up.
Yeah, the gold Legend of Zelda cartridge. That's
apologize.
iconic. I mean, the copy I have now is just the standard gray, because it's the re-release, but the original with that gold cartridge,
Yeah.
that's definitely iconic. Jordan vs. Bird, 1-on-1.
Yeah, and then there was the
basketball
classic
game.
unlicensed black cartridges, but then apparently this developer, Colored Dreams, something like that, was known for having a blue cartridge for their games.
Kid Icarus, featuring the character Pit, who I always thought was just named Kid Icarus.
Nice.
Kid Nicky, the Radical Ninja. I always liked that game because he had the spiky hair and the rat tail. And he had the sword that like spun around.
What's Kid Icarus about?
It's about an angel named Pit.
He fights like Medusa.
Nice. I don't know much of the Icarus story.
I think it's kind of like a Metroidvania game, actually.
I only know some of the
Why is it called like a
story from
Metroid
Percy
Icarus?
Jackson.
I'm pretty sure it's on the. I'm pretty sure it's on the Nintendo arcade on the Switch.
But basically, it happened. A lot of people forgot about it. Then returned like
I never
as
forgot.
Kid Icarus
I never
Uprising guys. Like people like, oh yeah, that used to be an NES game.
Me, right here. I never forgot about it.
Kid Icarus Uprising seems pretty fun. I'm pretty sure Masaharu Sakurai actually like worked on Kid Icarus Uprising.
The first Metal Gear we saw in the United States was on the NES. I know it's not well received, and I never had much use for it, but it is part of the classic
I've
series.
never played a single Metal
So
Gear.
it should definitely be
Me neither.
mentioned.
We have one on PlayStation Plus.
That's
Metal
nice.
Gear Solid 5.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I
was nice.
I haven't played a lot of the games y'all have been discussing, honestly.
You haven't played a lot of games.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, you play like
Paperboy, of course, is a classic, but I never played it, really, to be honest with you.
I have a
I've
specific
played the arcade
style.
version.
Yeah, and I think it actually comes from the arcade, but, I mean, it did make an appearance on
So I have a specific style of games I play.
The Sims.
Didn't care much for any of the racing games. I've never been a big racing
Oh, I
game
love
fan.
racing games.
The first racing game I really liked was Top Gear on the Super Nintendo.
Racing games are great, but I don't really like going back to the NES ones. Just, yeah, I guess because I'm used to the newer ones, you know?
Oh yeah, Mario's missing. Best game.
And you couldn't have today's Need for Speed on Nintendo. That wasn't an option. That would have been impressive.
Yeah.
To create a game like Need for Speed on
Yeah.
Nintendo, Nintendo would have
That
been on
someone's working
something.
on as you speak.
I'm just saying, Nintendo would have been on to something in the 80s with that.
There's a Paperboy 2?
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say, we didn't mention the sequel to Contra Super C, which isn't as good because you can only get 10 extra lives in it instead of 30. But it's still a really fun game, and Dylan and I had a really good time. We were playing it. Y'all, this is before Dylan was homeschooled. But there was like a 2-hour delay because there was inclement weather. And so we'd gotten ready for school, but there's going to be a 2-hour delay, so we sat down and we were playing it, and we beat it just before we had to go catch the bus.
Nice.
That was a really fun memory.
Nice. I remember one time we were in school and you had walked me down to the bus stop, and like while we were waiting on the bus, the school called like, yeah, school's closed. It was on the TV, whatever. But school got closed. Yeah. We had been standing out there like, where's the bus? And it's like,
That's fine.
Bus isn't coming.
That's fine.
No, it wasn't. I was tired.
It's funny to me.
Apparently there were 3 Ultimate games on the NES.
That's
if this
cool.
list can be believed. And I don't know where the original Ultima 3, 4, and 5.
Okay, why was there Tetris 2?
It's Star Wars. What?
Why was there Tetris 2?
Why not?
Because why?
Because why not?
Because why?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I remember playing that.
That's cool.
I remember the WWF WrestleMania, that was the first wrestling game I remember playing. It was pretty fun.
That's fun game.
I remember playing that before I was really a wrestling fan even.
I'm semi-surprised. I don't know why, but I'm
I told you my wrestling fandom only dates back to the fall of 1990. I just told you I got my NES in 87.
True. That is very true.
I think there was there were other wrestling games, but I think like Tecmo or somebody had a wrestling game that was pretty fun.
Nice.
I was trying to see if it was on the list. Basketball, Super Bowl. Yeah, Tecmo World Wrestling. I always enjoyed that game.
Good to know.
I wanted to double back a little bit because I brought up Kid Icarus, who was, I guess his name is actually Pitt, but I always thought his name was Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was one of the stars of the NES spin-off cartoon Captain N.
Yes.
Which I still would love to show you guys. I really loved at the time. It featured a kid who was like sucked into the video game world, and he became Captain N, and he had an NES controller on his belt, and he had a zapper as his weapon, and there was a fictional princess in it, Princess Lana, who I actually had a crush on when I was a kid. And it featured Mega Man and Kid Icarus and Simon Belmont, and the villains were Mother Brain and the Eggplant Wizard, and somebody else. King Hippo was in it, I know.
Yeah.
But just again speaking to the influence of the NES, that they had a Saturday morning cartoon that maybe wasn't great, but boy, I loved it when I was a kid.
You describing it made me think of an episode of Fairly Odd Parents.
I wasn't as fond of the Super Mario Brothers cartoons or the Legend of Zelda cartoon, but
that was the Legend of Zelda cartoon?
Yeah. Give me a line, Tim.
Well, excuse me, princess.
And the Mario Brothers cartoons are what they are, but again, just look at the reach of the NES. The one thing I wish that they'd made action figures for Captain N. That would have been fantastic.
The Mario.
Maybe we can get a 3D printer and make you some.
Why would they have a Metroid series?
Did it need one?
Seems more like a movie.
Yeah.
Like you'd have a Metroid movie.
It would have joined the movie, right?
Maybe people would say it's too close to Alien, but
I mean, that's pretty much what Metroid Fusion is. It feels like Alien.
Maybe that's why
game.
they never made it. They didn't want to get in trouble.
well, there's definitely some influences in that game from the Alien world.
Nice to know. It's one I've never played.
What, Alien or Metroid?
All of the above.
We should stream you playing Metroid.
That should go well.
Yeah.
The original Metroid?
Yeah, the original Metroid. We should stream that.
Yeah, I've never been that.
We came close, though. You and I were playing through it not that long ago.
Yeah, I've been Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion.
I wanted to shout out really quickly. I say that for my money, the NES is the most important video game console of all time. It's the one that really laid the foundation. It's not the very first home video game system, but it's the one that really kicked everything off. And I have a list of the, and again, there's no real way to quantify that other than personal opinion. I mean, you can point to certain things, but it's still somewhat a matter of opinion. But one that is quantifiable is sales of video game consoles. And I have a list of the top-selling video game systems of all time. The Nintendo Entertainment System, it's not super high on the list. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the 13th highest selling system of all time, but still 61.91 million units sold.
Damn.
So that's a lot of console. More than Xbox One, more than the Super Nintendo, more than Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, Atari 2600, Xbox, GameCube, Wii U. So, you know, it's ahead of a lot of video game systems.
Damn. I don't know what I was gonna ask. I hate how I keep doing that. Like, I start asking something, I'm like, wait, what is the question?
Well, if the question is what's the most influential video game system of all time, to me the answer is the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
I agree.
And again, it and the Famicom, but
Yeah.
I have a North American perspective because I'm from North America, so.
Yeah.
So you got some quizzes?
Yeah.
What are they on?
One is called The Impossible.
One's on sewing in feudal Japan.
Yes.
One's on the variations of one specific type of tree frog.
Yes.
I like frogs.
One is called The Impossible NES Quiz. It's just about the NES. And the other one is What Classic NES Character Are You?
Well, it's right up our alley, so.
Yes.
What you gonna do first?
I'm asking. I sent both of y'all the links of these so we can kind of all do it at the same time. The first one on my list is.
I could go either way.
Let's go Impossible Quiz.
I was gonna say, a lot of times we close
Like
out.
Impossible Quiz?
Which one are you? But
Yep,
No, the
Impossible
Impossible
Quiz. Which one of us should read the questions?
Any of us? I can't.
I think
speak
I
good.
should probably.
Oh, alright, yeah, that makes sense. Go ahead, Maddie.
So the Impossible Quiz from WhatCulture.com. I'm getting an ad. Hold on.
Okay. You have to keep closing some ads.
Alright, so again,
Mine is covering up half
WhatCulture.com.
the page.
The Impossible NES Quiz. How well will you do? Are you playing with power? I should mention, of course, that's why I made that comment at the beginning, because that was the Nintendo slogan for a while. Now you're playing with power.
Yeah.
Well, the first one's going to be really easy.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Entertainment System debuted in America in which year?
I haven't think long and
1985,
hard
of
about
course.
this.
That's the whole reason we're covering it now on its 35th anniversary.
Yes.
Another ad.
Yeah, there's a lot of ads. I apologize.
Yeah, isn't that a Kirby game for the NES right there? Are y'all getting the same ad I am? The same picture that I am? Kirby's
yeah.
Kirby
picture.
Adventure.
Nice.
Oh, Final Fantasy's on that picture too. I approve. Final Fantasy, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super
Because
Mario
I think
Bros.
that might be
Legend
the
of
first
Zelda,
game Kirby appeared as
Ninja
King.
Gaiden, Castlevania.
Because in the original Kirby game on the box art, he was gray because in the game, of course, there wasn't any color for him because it was Game Boy. And Sakurai was like, I want Kirby to be pink, but me and Mo were like, both is yellow.
No.
But then eventually it decided to be pink.
Alright, which game was the best-selling NES title of all time? Super Mario Bros.
Question, do
Duck Hunt, or
pack-ins
Super Mario
count?
Bros. 3? Yeah, they always have on the list. So I
Yeah.
think it's Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
Same.
that's what I'd say since it's a pack-in. I'm like, oh.
What game? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I seriously.
Yeah, I'm sorry. These ads are you getting one every time you change over?
Almost every time, yeah.
Alright, what game is this image from? Mega Man 2, Kung Fu Master, or Hogan's
I
Alley?
don't know, I'm getting an ad
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah, the advertisement is covering.
I think I can
have
see
to
it now.
scroll.
I was gonna say
I know what game it is.
that
Are
looks an
y'all
awful
getting
lot-
like full screen? I'm just getting a little video that I can close.
I'm getting an ad that I
Yeah,
can't.
that literally covered the ads on the
I
first one. I
have to
had to
scroll all the way
refresh.
down to Metal Gear.
Reason to
Yeah,
now
have
that-
my
now
eyes.
that-
okay.
Now there's an ad covering.
Wait, it literally said Konami on it.
Is it Metal Gear?
It,
It literally says
oh,
Konami.
I guess it looks like Metal Gear, which I heard wasn't even in the original Metal Gear.
It literally said
Okay.
Konami on it.
Lol.
Yeah, now look, I'm getting like a frame around my
Oh, wow.
screen. I'm getting Nature Made vitamins popping up down
Oh my
here.
god, there's so many ads.
Okay, I just
Oh, I
accidentally
don't actually
opened
know
an ad.
this
I just
one.
opened an
Frick.
ad. How many units NES units sold worldwide.
I feel like I actually know this one.
Oh shit.
I literally just told y'all the answer to this. And I told y'all it was one of the, where it ranked on the list of best-selling video games.
Ah, frick, we're both dumb.
I just clicked on the answer. I'm not saying it because
I
y'all
think I
should have
did
listened to
too.
when I said it before. Did y'all both click an answer?
I clicked an answer.
I'm just gonna click this one.
It was 61.9 million.
Dang it. Did you click that?
Yes.
Dang it.
When the NES debuted, how much did it cost? Gosh, I don't know, because I was fucking 6 at the time.
I want to say 180. Cause
I'm gonna
like
say 249.
150 sounds a little.
I think
too low,
249 is the. I feel like.
But I feel like the 200s are too high for the 80s.
It's either 179 or 249.
I don't want
I feel like
179.
I'm gonna go 249.
Yeah, I'm going 249. That's a feels.
I honestly don't. I'm pretty sure I've heard it
Oh.
in the myriad. What is it? Did it tell you the answer?
No.
The next question.
Oh, yeah. Which is the correct Konami code? Let's see what the options are. Up, down, left, right, BA. Up, down, left, right, AB. Left, right, BA, up, down.
No.
Or
Wait.
down,
Oh,
up, left, right, BA.
It's
Up, down, left, right, BA. And select start because I'm playing 2 players.
Okay, now I just got that frame ad thing.
And now my game. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it wasn't loading. True or false? Blowing on an NES cartridge helped the game play when it wouldn't load.
I don't care if this
Now,
tag
this
is
is
false.
borderline.
It's true. It's true.
Because all the research claims it's
And plus,
false.
it cleans out the dust.
And you know, my dad would
little
always say
bit.
that would degrade my games over time because of the moisture from your breath.
I mean,
But the
it
fact
does,
is,
but
even though
it
people say,
works.
"Hey, you're just making a new connection when you pull it out and put it back in,"
the
every time
dust.
Dylan and I try it, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Take it out, put it back in.
I
Take
don't
it
care.
out,
I'm
put it back in.
clicking true.
Give it a. Put it back in. It's probably gonna work.
I don't care. I'm clicking true.
I'm clicking false because I want to get the best grade.
I'm
But
clicking true because
Alright.
it freaking works.
which of the following was not a launch title for the NES? Commando, Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, or 10-Yard Fight?
I don't even know what 10-yard fight is.
Me
It's a
neither.
football game.
Was it a launch title for the NES?
I mean, Commando goes back to like Atari, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Or does it not? I'm gonna guess it's Commando is not the launch title.
I'm gonna
do
trust you.
10-yard fight.
What was the name of the robot accessory? ROB, Robotic Operating Buddy, RES, Robotic Engineering System, Rob the Robot, or RAB, Robotic Accessory Buddy?
Pretty sure it is the first one.
Yes.
Same.
We should talk about Rob really quickly. Rob was packaged with the Nintendo mainly to help get it into toy stores because,
Yeah.
you know, the video game crash, people weren't wanting to sell video game systems, so it was sort of the Trojan horse that got the NES into stores. But I didn't know that much about Rob as a kid. I never really saw him. He wasn't really a part of my video gaming culture at the time. Like I say, by the time I got the NES, mine was packed with the Zapper and the Power Pad, and none of my friends had Rob either.
I like
So
Rob.
Rob's something I learned about later on. So even though I know he was important to the Nintendo and getting it into stores, it wasn't really something that was important to the video game culture, as far as at least our consciousness of the culture.
Yeah.
You know. But
I like
he
Rob.
he definitely deserves his due for helping get the system launched.
We
and
need a Rob to just
He's
sit
an
up on
interesting
the
character,
shelf.
and again made a good episode of the Angry Video Game Nerd.
He'd
Yes.
look good just sitting at the top of our shelves.
They can play Gyromite and stack up.
So number 10, Nintendo ceased manufacturing sales in which year? 94, 99, or 2003?
Or 2005.
It wasn't 2000.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think it's in the 2000s.
I'd
pretty sure.
vote.
Is it 99?
I was
Well,
gonna
that's the
guess
thing.
99.
I don't think it was 94 because I think the top loader came out after that because I got mine in 97.
I don't think it's on 2003. I was on the
No, it's
Wikipedia
gotta be
page. I think it's
2003.
so.
I'll go
I would
99
guess.
then.
It's
If I had to guess, I would have guessed 97 because that's when I saw it all on close.
I'd say 99.
All right. Number 11. The original console featured an 8-bit chip which clocked in at what rate? 8 megahertz, 4.3 megahertz, 2 gigahertz, or 1.79 megahertz?
I don't know any of I don't know
I'm
megahertz.
shocked that you don't. Like, this seems like your kind of thing to know.
I don't know megahertz.
I don't have a clue.
I don't even know what would have been normal. Something like this in the 80s.
As old as it is, I'm going to go with the smallest. I'm going 1.79 megahertz.
I'm gonna go 4.
I'll go 2.
2 gigahertz.
Wait, that's not what I meant to click.
Yeah, that's gigahertz.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say 2. I meant...
True or false? The NES...
I say with
Oh my god.
you.
The NES saved the video game industry from the video game crash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've been saying. What was the system called in Japan? The Family Computer or Famicom? I mean, we've been talking about that. I'm not going to belabor this.
No.
Yeah, it's still that.
How many licensed games were released for the NES? 498, 663, 714, or 826?
I think it's one of the last two.
I think it's 714.
Yeah, I believe it's that.
Because we watched a documentary about a guy trying to collect every one of the games.
Yeah.
And that
Sounds like
number
a
seems
lot.
correct. Yeah, it's high.
I clicked the full one because I wasn't expecting it to be that high.
What was the very last licensed game released for the NES? Toy Story, Ultimate League Soccer, Venice Beach Volleyball, or The Lion King?
Isn't it The Lion King?
Is it?
Is it?
I was gonna guess it, but at the same time, that
I
also
feel
sounds
like it's
maybe.
The Lion King.
I mean, I know that was Lion
mean
King was
license,
something big
like-
in the 90s.
I guess they meant just like license from. It had like
Yeah.
an IP somewhere else that was integrated into it, not like officially licensed for the system. Because I mean, The Lion King would have been like 93 was the movie.
I mean, I could be
But I
wrong on
mean,
that.
if that was towards the end of the NES,
Well, we just said we thought it was done in 99, so.
yeah.
Yeah, because Ultimate League Soccer and Venice Beach Volleyball would. I'm gonna go Ultimate League Soccer just to be different.
I'm gonna go with The Lion King. That's what feels right.
I got 80%.
Same.
60.
Great score, but not perfect. Oh,
Oh, it even says all the correct
Yeah,
answers.
if you scroll
obviously, we
down
got the
some.
first two
Yeah,
right.
you got. It was Han saying 9
Wait,
for the price.
Yes,
Yeah.
Eunice, of course, was right. Damn.
I also intentionally clicked the wrong
The
one
cost
for
is
the
179.
cartridge, and it was Commando.
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
that correct.
2003, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Damn.
Well, of course, I mean,
And it's 1.7.
they might have stopped selling them here, but they could have still
True.
been selling them in Europe or someplace else.
True.
I was right on The Lion King.
Okay.
Nice.
We were right about the
Yeah.
bit
The
rate.
7
Yeah.
foot 14
We were
was
right about the
about
number of games.
You're right about the megahertz.
Nice. Did you
Sound
see that
like
this
said
website?
You sound like you said manga hertz or mango hertz.
Did y'all see that this website also has an Among Us quiz?
No, I didn't.
But I intentionally clicked the wrong
You
one
should,
on the
you should
blonde
save
one
that,
on
and
the
next time y'all are
cartridge.
streaming Among Us, I'll break that quiz out.
All right. So y'all gonna move on
All
to
right,
the
I get. Yeah,
next
let's do
quiz?
it.
Yeah.
I gotta get a sip of water. I'm parched.
Yeah, I had to leave and grab a
What
drink because I
classic
felt
NES
like
character are you?
I was choking.
Oh, hey, it has a little image of Super Smash, Super Mario Flash or
thing.
something.
That's cool.
No, Super Mario Bros. Crossover or something. I remember that.
I
That game
figured
is so much fun.
I figured you and I would go about the quiz.
I
and
love that
Maddie
game.
would read his questions.
We should
and stuff.
we should stream some of that.
Yeah,
There's
that,
just Super Mario Bros. With
there's also a
characters from
sequel
other video
to it.
games in it, Link and Mega Man. I almost feel like it had to inspire the costumes you get in the original Super Mario Maker.
Yeah. But
All
also
right,
a
beginning the quiz, which is from GoToQuiz.com. What classic NES character are you? What is your age? And everybody, it's range of ages.
Yeah.
God damn it! I can't click 31.
Wall says you can't get past question 2.
Yeah. Question 2 really just yeeted me out the window.
I feel so shitty. I have to click 41 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You're in
you're,
your 40s, Dad.
you're a bit older
You
than
know,
the
technically, gender refers to plants. It's supposed to be sex for humans.
Same difference.
Either way.
Well, no, technically, gender is supposed to refer to plants. And nowadays, people take gender to mean your mental state
Yeah,
or your
identity,
mental
your
identity
pronouns,
and sex to
Sex
be the
be
biological
the
component. So
organs. The inside.
I guess people so bad they don't like saying the word sex to children, so they're
I
like
mean,
gender.
that's probably where that came from.
it's fucking stupid too.
We agree, but still.
When confronted with a challenge, do you prefer to go it alone or team up with friends?
Gosh dang it.
I'll go with people if they prove trustworthy.
You go with what?
I went with the last option.
Others can come if they prove trustworthy. that's like something from the Mandalorian. You can come.
Yeah, I'd pretty much only go with others.
I like going with others, but if I don't trust you, I'm not bringing you along.
It's like I'd prefer not go alone.
Like, I'm not trying to die here.
It's
That's
like-
kind of the point.
It's like if we go together, everyone
I'll
has
go
the
alone
greatest
if it means
chance.
me having a better chance. No, I'm stuck at 4.
I could go with I work alone. Other people just get in the way. I'm a capable leader, but I don't need help. Or I like company, but I am prepared to go alone.
You can go with a few
I can
options.
go with any of them. I'm happy either way. I'm not going with work with others. Teamwork is invaluable. I work alone. Other people just get in the way.
I found fur to be the toughest question.
No.
Oh, that's easy.
No. I'm a capable leader, but I don't need help.
No, because
No,
fur is
fur-
about
No. I like company.
what weapons you'd use, and I struggle deciding between a sword, a bow, and magic. Like I just
Sword.
want all of the
You were
above.
under attack by monsters. What is your weapon of choice?
Sword.
Sturdy shield and sword, preferably magic.
You see, I'm a
long-range
paladin,
weapon, whip a
so-
bow. Pure destructive magic, burn. Ah, my appetite. Why would I need a weapon? That's a Kirby answer.
Yeah.
A good, powerful gun or laser blaster. My own body. I know how to fight after all. Well, that's my real life answer. But in a video game or in a fantasy setting, I'll take a sturdy shield and a sword.
And even with my warlock character I made for D&D, a hexblade, meaning they use a sword mainly.
So, what personal values are most important to you? Courage and honesty, justice and one's duty, petty values are below me, friendship and happiness, responsibility and boldness, or righteousness and honor.
Happiness. Cause I'm happy.
This is
I
tough.
like
This is
happiness. I like happiness.
I like a lot of these. I want to choose honesty, but I wouldn't necessarily put courage over some of this other stuff.
I'm gonna go with
I like-
courage and honesty.
I like happiness.
I mean, well, I don't know, because loyalty is almost more important to me than just, honesty is important. Can I have loyalty and honesty? That's what I want.
That's the best one.
Justice and one's duty, petty values are below me, friendship and happiness.
I like happiness. And friendship. So you can't
I'm gonna
have
go with
friendship
that
without
because
honesty
you need
and
loyalty
loyalty.
for friendship.
Yeah, you can't have friendship without honesty and loyalty.
And in media and in books and stuff, not media and, like
Yeah.
in books and stories and stuff, I always like the relationships between the characters. That's what really sells it for me. So that's what I'm going with. Are you ready to move along yet?
Yes.
You have defeated an enemy in battle. What do you do now? If it will not turn from evil, it must be sealed away. I eat it. What? You can't just waste it. Stomp it into the ground. Or hang out later. Strike it down. All evil must be destroyed. Destroy it as duty requires. Burn it to ashes, then destroy the ashes. Like, the last three are like the same thing.
You have to
Yeah.
destroy.
Different ways of
See,
destruction.
I'm just gonna
I
seal it
stomp
away.
it.
I mean, look, I come from the
I'm
philosophy
totally gonna be
you
like-
always kill your enemies. If not, they're coming back for you.
I'm
The
in
same way,
stomp
because I
it.
don't like killing.
So I'm burn it to ashes and destroying the ashes.
Yes.
I'm sealed.
How do you destroy it?
I'm totally.
Why are you on this adventure or mission? To protect the people I care for. My princess needs me, and there's a reward. Someone said dinner was involved, because the pay was good. I do what I must. I needed an outlet for my destructive might.
Protect the people I care for.
Yeah.
Or paladin.
I thought about I needed an outlet for my destructive might.
Same.
What do your friends know you for? I'm nice and I love having fun. I don't have many friends. My friends all fear me, and for good reason.
Oh
I don't
god.
have many friends.
One thing, everybody loves me. I am the one who knows how to take charge. I don't say much, but my friends trust me.
I don't have many.
I feel like I'm that last one or the first one.
I feel like I'm the first one and the second one. Which do I do? The first one and the second
I feel
one?
like my friends all fear me.
I'm very sorry about that.
Am I the first one or the second one? Send help.
The second one.
Okay, thank you.
I love you, but you gotta be honest.
Okay.
We could all say that one.
True.
Well, she has like 2 more friends than us.
My whole
At
2
least.
friends.
At least.
For the friends that we have, I think number one, be honest for you.
True.
Dylan.
True.
Was I the first or second?
I was
said
gonna
the
say
first
second as a joke for
Okay, I
you.
was the first one.
Because you joke about how you never
Okay.
have friends. Outside of us, at
Which
least.
one are you doing, Lexi?
I went first.
Oh, God. Okay. I thought you said something about going with the last one, so.
Yeah, I was debating between the first and the last. What are you doing?
I'm debating between the last two.
Nice. Yeah.
Because, I mean, if I'm really friendly with you, I do talk a lot. I am quite talkative.
It is true. Listeners of the LexiCon will know this.
Alright. Number 9. If you could have one element or superpower, what would it be? The wild freedom of wind and storm, something awesome like fireballs or giant size. Super cuteness. The power of almighty destruction. Advanced technology is far more reliable, or I have no need of power.
I like
That's
advanced
useful.
technology.
I like the technology one. I don't like how it says if you could have one element and then list 2 whole elements.
Just saying 3 and 4 could be.
Right.
Both are could be.
I like the last one too,
I'm
though.
gonna go with the wall, freedom of wind and storm.
I'm doing technology. I really like technology. It's either I want super fancy or super technology.
I want a combination of the last two.
Your Maztec?
Yes.
Who or what inspires you? The purity of the divine, my friends, those who raised me, ultimate power, my beloved princess, or I need no outside inspiration.
My friends!
Yeah.
I mean, I am a paladin, but my friends.
Yeah.
Number
What about
11. Your
paladin?
friend is in danger. There is no time to think. What is your first response? Do what I can to avert the trouble. I had better go help. Oh no, watch out. Risk everything to protect your friend. Contemplate the best choice in the situation. Charge in and try to help.
Charge in.
Isn't that basically the same as I had better go help?
Probably.
Charging. I think
I'm going with risk.
What is your favorite color? That's just out of nowhere. All these other things.
blue and black. Those are literally my two
Bright
favorite
red,
colors.
orange, yellow, green, brown, blue, black, pink, or brown and rustic.
Blue and black
I gotta
are
go
the
with
I think
black,
it's
too.
Kirby.
Yes, that last question was both overused and pointless. How do you feel about that? That was a foolish waste of time. What? That was fun. It doesn't matter, I have plenty of time. What? We need to keep moving. You're kidding, right? If it helps complete the task.
What? That was
so
fun. That was fun. That was fun.
Alright, it looks like you finished the quiz. Alright, let's see. Yippee! Darn right, let's go.
Yippee! Submit answers.
Alright, I'm submitting mine.
Oh. Huh.
Y'all seem
I
a
was not
little...
expecting this.
I haven't seen mine yet. I was debating on which one to click for the last
I mean, I
one.
was
Hey,
expecting.
look, you actually get a range, too.
Oh my god, I hate how.
Really?
Wait, I have a beef. The bottom one of mine is Dark Mage from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be black me.
I was gonna say, what is that supposed,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be fucking...
Yeah, I have two bomb ones. They're tied.
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
One of them
guys.
being dark mage.
First of all, my question is, who's Simon Belmont?
The lead character of two of the Castlevania games.
Okay.
Yeah, Castlevania 1.
So I'm mainly Kirby at 54%,
I'm Kirby at 84%.
but then 39% is tied between Link and
Oh wait,
Simon.
are you talking about your secondary results or your main result?
Well, that's that. My main result is Mario.
My main result is
At
Kirby
76.
at 84. My second result is Link at 50. Mario at 47. Simon at 20. And then Dark Mage and
What was you,
Samus or
Maddie?
0.
What were you?
I was... Wait, first off, what was your percentage on the one you matched?
84 somehow.
Mine is 76.
I'm 93% Link.
I'm surprised I didn't get Link.
I got Link as my third.
My Link
Tied with
is my
Simon
second
Belmont.
at 50%.
I was 55%
Kirby's my
Simon.
second.
I was 50% Kirby. 45% Samus.
I got
36%
0 Samus.
36% Mario.
I haven't said advanced
21% Dark
technology.
Mage.
That's
No,
only
I have-
Samus answer.
I have 3%.
Which is interesting because I'm pretty sure I got
8%
Mario on
Dark
what Mario
Mage.
character are you?
So throughout all the Mario characters, you're Mario, but throughout all the NES characters, you're Link.
Yeah.
I really thought I'd be Link.
I was
Am I
hoping
like
for some
Kirby with the sword ability? I'm probably Kirby with the sword ability.
Yeah, Kirby, a Link. A Link Kirby.
You mean Mad Knight?
Link Kirby?
No, I mean Kirby with the Link's hat.
I'm making a joke.
So Kirby in Smash Bros. Once he sucked up Link?
Yep. Once he sucks Link.
But I'm pretty sure Kirby only gets like a bow out of
You
that.
technically said it.
I said sucks up Link.
I mean,
But I'm Kirby with the sword ability.
yeah.
Like jumps into the spin attacks and it's really damn epic.
Yeah.
You know, I suppose when it says Dark Mage, it could mean like Garland from Final Fantasy. I'm the villain from Final Fantasy.
Nice. I got Dark Mage at 8%.
I got 0%. And 0% for Samus.
It's interesting, y'all got I'm 93, 55, 50, 45, 36, 21.
I'm 76, 54, 39, 39, 8, and 3.
I'm 84, 50, 47, 20, 0.
Oh, I didn't read it. Link is the young hero of Hyrule, an elfin boy destined to save
Oh, yeah, we
Princess
could read
Zelda
this
from the
stuff.
evil Ganondorf. Wielder of the legendary Master Sword and the sacred Triforce of Courage, this warrior of few words is one of the best known of the NES fantasy heroes.
Kirby may appear to be little more than a dull pink fluff, but this little cutie has taken down nightmares galore. His most famous power is his appetite, as both his friends and foes agree, even though I said nothing about my appetite
It's
the
true.
entire time.
Mario's the hero of the Mushroom Kingdom and the arch nemesis of the monsters Koopa King Bowser. This mushroom stomping legend does more than just fight. He's also a plumber, racer, carpenter, and professional golfer.
How did I miss that you got Mario? I thought you said you got Simon.
No, I have 39% of him tied with Link.
Oh.
And then Kirby at 54 and Mario at
How does
76.
he get more? I go bullshit on this.
We got two of the most iconic NES characters.
Yes.
I mean, Kirby's an iconic Nintendo character, not necessarily from the NES, but...
Yeah, the
Yes.
first game was on the Game Boy.
Alright, well, I think that's going to about do it for our look at the 35th anniversary of, for my money, one of the greatest video game systems of all time. And I'm sure everybody would agree with that. You might not agree that it's the most important or most influential, but it's certainly one of the all-time greats.
Yes.
Something that's still fun to play even to this day, 35 years later. Alright, well, make sure that you take a look at the links in the description of this podcast for ways that you can help out and for information on voting. And don't forget to come back next week when the conversation will continue. But until then, I will continue to be Link.
Mario.
Kirby.
And this is LexiCon concluded.
Bye.
Excuse me, princess.